When you believe in the words of what Woody Allen said, he said that 80% of success is simply showing up. And so I thank every single one of you for showing up. So here's what I want to talk to you about. My question for you is this: who told you that it was going to be easy? That's right. Who told you that it was going to be easy for you to take your business off the ground? Who told you that it was going to be easy for you to have a successful marriage? Who told you that it was going to be easy for you to go back and get the second degree? Who told you that it was going to be easy for you to build a tremendous and amazing career? Who told you that it was going to be easy for you to pursue your goals and your dreams in life? And here's what I come to realize. There are too many people who are going after their goals and their dreams, and they're giving up far too early because they underestimated the process. They didn't understand that it was going to be hard, that it was going to be tough, that they was going to experience some challenges, that there's going to be some setbacks along the way, that there's going to be some lean periods, some lean years when their bank account doesn't quite look like the way that they would want it to be, when they're growing the business and they're not quite getting the amount of customers and clients that they would really like. They didn't quite tell them and prepare them and tell them that, hey, you know what? When you stood there and you said, for better or for worse, till death do us part, and you said, I do, that it wasn't going to be all roses and sunshine. No, that there are going to be periods in your marriage. There are going to be periods in your relationship where your spouse is going to maybe perhaps drive you crazy. There are going to be times where you're going to be forced to stretch and to grow. And I tell you this, there are many people that when they think about their goals and their dreams and the things that they want to do, they had no idea that when they set out to do it, that it's going to oftentimes be much more complicated and much more involved. And I just want to be that voice that tells you, you know what? It's not easy. As a matter of fact, it's never going to be easy. Anything that you're looking to do that's significant, anything that you're looking to do that's in line with your purpose, your calling, and your destiny is not necessarily going to be easy. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't do it. And I'm not saying that you don't have everything that is required in order for you to do it. I'm not saying that this is not a special calling and a purpose in your life. But what I'm saying is, once you decide to go on the journey and raise the bar in your life, once you decide to write the book, once you decide to get married, once you decide to start the business, once you decide to grow the prosperous career, once you decide that you're going to go after your goals and your dreams, understand that it is going to be hard. And anybody that tells you anything differently, they're setting you up for failure. And I believe that many more people, that they would have much more success, and more people wouldn't chicken out and give up on their goals and their dreams if somebody was just honest with them and flat out told them, listen, you want to write a book? It's going to be hard. You know what? You want to go ahead and build a successful business? It's going to be hard. You want to get married? It's the most amazing thing that you can do, but it's going to be hard. You want to go after your goals and your dreams, and you want to live your purpose, your calling. You want to impact lives. You want to not just influence and impact your own life, but you want to help other people to change their lives also. Listen, it's going to be hard. But one thing that I know for certain is that it's absolutely worth it. And when I share this with you, I think about, there's one particular time, one of my fraternity brothers came by my house. This was years ago, but, he was just in town visiting. And so I told him, listen, man, no problem. You could go ahead and come crash with me. And so I remember he was sitting down in the living room area, sitting down on the couch. And I just saw him just shaking his head. He was just like shaking his head. And I was like, Mark, man, why are you shaking your head? He said, man, Andy, man, he said, nobody told me. I said, Mark, what do you mean? Nobody told you what? He said, listen, man, nobody told me. I said, nobody told you what? He said, nobody told me that it was going to be like this. I said, what do you mean it was going to be like this? Mark said, nobody told me that it was going to be hard, man. He said, I didn't realize that life was going to be this hard. I didn't realize it was going to be this hard for me to grow my business. I didn't realize that it was going to be this hard for me to stay afloat. And the reason why he was saying that, because he was in the process of trying to go out on his own and start his own business. And of course, in the process of trying to start his own business, life came around the corner and gave him a couple of nickies right on his head, right? And so he was realizing that, you know what, this is a little more difficult than what I thought it was going to be. And I thought it was hilarious to this day, because my mom was actually around when he said this, and we laughed to this day. My mom always goes, hey, how's your fraternity brother who says that he didn't know that it was going to be hard? How's he doing? And I say, Mom, he's doing good now. He's doing good. But we thought it was hilarious because I understand that a lot of people feel like that. You see, there's a lot of people that, are going after their goals and their dreams. They're going after whatever it is that they're looking to pursue in life. And they're saying to themselves, the thing that Mark was able to voice out vocally, and they're saying to themselves that, you know what, nobody told me that it was going to be like this. Nobody told me that it was going to be this hard. Nobody told me that when I was growing my business and I was trying to make things happen, that I was going to hear all these no's. Nobody told me that being married to somebody, that we're going to have many differences and that was going to cause friction. It was going to cause me to grow. Nobody told me that, you know what, if I decide to go a different path and go back to school and get my thing, that I was going to be outside of my comfort zone. It was going to be difficult for me to balance my personal life and school. Nobody told me that when I was going to go after my goals and my dreams, that there was not going to be an exact blueprint, and that nobody was going to be there to go ahead and do all the work for me, that I was going to have to do it myself and figure it out. And so they're thinking to themselves, nobody told me that it was going to be so hard. And so there's a part of them that wonders to themselves, is it worth it? There's a part of them that wonders, is this really for me? Should I keep pushing forward? And I tell you right now, and some of you have heard me share this, but I'm telling you, when I left my job in 2004, when I left corporate America, my confidence level was like, on a scale from 1 to 10, it was at a 10. And the reason why it was at a 10 is because, number one, I had saved up a significant amount of money in my savings. That was one of the reasons why my confidence was at a 10. The other thing is that I had recently been introduced to a company, and I thought for sure that I was going to make my way up into this direct sales company, and I was going to be one of the top producers within the next 2 years. I was going to be like the top producer in the company. And so between that and the money that I had saved up, I thought for sure that becoming a successful entrepreneur, I thought for sure this new path that I paved out for myself, I thought for sure that it was going to be easy. But let me tell you something, it was far from being easy. And so let me just tell you, I found out very quickly that it was so much harder than what I thought it was going to be. And I tell you, I took all that money that I had saved up and I made this big investment. And I was sure that this investment was going to pay off. I was sure that I was going to just be ultra rich entrepreneur. And let me just tell you, it was a bad investment. I lost all of my money. And so let me just tell you, as I was in my bedroom, trying to grasp the fact that I had lost literally all of my savings, the very savings that gave me the confidence to leave my job in corporate America, coming to the realization that literally now I had very minimal funds to my name and I just quit my corporate career. Let me tell you, I found out very quickly what the word hard meant. Let me tell you, it was hard for me to continue to believe that I was going to make something happen when all of my savings were gone. It was hard for me to push forward knowing that I had left my corporate job and that it was really going to be a little shameful for me to go back and have to ask it was hard because I didn't necessarily have a blueprint. Nobody was saying, hey, Andy, do this, then do that, then do this. There was no necessarily blueprint. Nobody told me, hey, Andy, if you do this, we've got you covered. There was no more safety net. Let me just tell you, I had to discover what it meant to do something that was hard. And let me tell you, when you're doing something that's hard, sometimes you're going to have to exercise some faith. When you're doing something that's hard, you're going to have to dig deep. When you're doing something that's hard, you're going to have to step outside of your comfort zone. When you're doing something that's hard, sometimes you have to come to the realization that some of the people who start with you will not finish with you. In other words, at the very beginning of your journey, as you look to your right and you look to your left, and you see the other people who are starting the journey with you, as you go through a difficult journey, trust and believe that when you look to your right and you look to your left again, chances are that they're no longer going to be there standing with you. And so you've got to dig deep. You've got to dig within yourself and say, wait a second, I can make this thing happen. Wait a second, I can push through. Because I understand that sometimes in life, you're going to encounter some things that are a little difficult, that was a little hard. I spent the earlier part of the afternoon today with a good friend of mine, and we were having a conversation, and I'm so proud of him. He just recently went ahead and bought $1 million property, and he's going to be doing some fantastic things with that $1 million property. One of the things he's going to be doing is a bed and breakfast. And he was telling me how he stumbled across this amazing woman who is going to become sort of like the manager for his bed and breakfast. And he was telling me the woman's story. And he said, Andy, you don't understand. He said, I met this amazing woman. He said, but man, let me just tell you, man, she has one crazy story. I said, what's that? He said, man, you know what? She was in a relationship, and unfortunately, you know, the relationship got a little toxic. It got a little difficult. It got somewhat abusive. And shortly thereafter, unfortunately, you know, she had her vehicle, and that was her vehicle that she was using. And she was in the process of job searching. And while she was in the process of job searching, guess what, Andy? Her vehicle broke down. And unfortunately, she didn't necessarily have the resources to get her vehicle fixed. And then he said, wait a second, Andy, it gets a little worse than this. After her vehicle breaks down, guess what? She actually does get a job. So there is a little bit of a silver lining there, but now she doesn't have a vehicle. And he said, Andy, listen, man, this woman was waking up every single day, man, early, 2 hours early, because it took her about 2 hours to ride the bus to get to her job. And when she would leave her job, it would take another 2 hours in order for her to get home. So her total commute is about 4 hours. And so at this point, she's just doing whatever she can to just keep pushing forward, man. And he said that you would never know, because I went to the place that she was working. And he said that the way that she was showing up, man, she had so much energy. She had so much charisma. She was so positive. He said, you know what? All I kept thinking about, you know what? Now that I have this new venue and I'm going to be doing this bed and breakfast, I need somebody with drive. I need somebody with determination. I need somebody that's got grit. And most importantly, I need somebody that is comfortable with doing hard, because I understand that even though I have this amazing property, it's going to be hard for me to roll out the things that I want to do. I understand it's going to require a little bit of hustle. It's going to require some hard work. It's going to require maybe perhaps having this to make things happen, just to be able to go ahead and pay the mortgage and so forth that we have on the property. And I was listening to him share that, and I had the privilege to meet this woman. And the moment I shook her hand, I knew right away that she understood that sometimes in life you got to be willing to do hard. And when life gets hard, as it did for that woman, when life gets hard and you're going through the relationship and the relationship goes south, when life gets hard and you have, unfortunately, a major setback, like, you know, your only vehicle and you only have the resource and your vehicle breaks down. When life gets hard, you got to take 2 hours to get to your job and 2 hours to get home, and you're basically living paycheck to paycheck. When life gets hard, you got to be willing to do hard. You got to be willing to lean in, as Sheryl Sandberg would say. You've got to be willing to do whatever is necessary to make things going. You got to be willing to push through. As Winston Churchill said, he said, you know what he said? Here's what Winston Churchill said. He said, when you're going through hell, keep going. Why in the world do you want to stay during the difficult moments in life? Don't sit there and park. Many people, as they're doing hard and they're trying to figure things out, and they're in the middle of a hard, difficult situation, they decide to go ahead and pull out a lawn chair and grab themselves a little smoothie, lay down in the lawn chair, and lay down in the middle of what's hard. And they just moan and groan about how difficult it is. You don't understand, I lost my job. You don't understand, this is what my husband or wife did to me. You don't understand, I lost the investment. You don't understand who cheated me and all this stuff. And so they talk about over and over about all the things that people did and how difficult things are going, and they're expecting things to change. Well, listen to this. Wayne Dyer said this: at some point, you got to change your perspective. And here's the other thing: if nothing changes, then nothing changes. And at some point, you got to be willing to invoke a change in your life. You got to be willing to fold up the lawn chair, go ahead and put that smoothie to the side, because you don't have time to be sipping on a smoothie right now. And you got to go ahead and keep pushing forward, even when it's difficult, even when your bank account is not necessarily reflective of what you believe is possible, even when you got that little voice on the inside that's saying, I don't know if this is necessarily possible. You got to be willing and have the conviction and the willingness to do what's hard. And here's what I know for certain. Listen, Not everything in life is necessarily going to be hard, but anything worth doing will be hard. You want to have a successful marriage? It's going to be hard. You want to have a successful business? It's going to be hard. You want to go ahead and do a career change and go after your goals and your dreams? It's going to be hard. Now, here's the good news. It's absolutely worth it. And here's the other good news, that you have the capacity and you have the ability to make this thing happen. But you have to be willing to do hard. You got to be willing to embrace it. You got to be willing and understand that it's going to be a challenge. Today, I popped into a meeting and my friend put me on the spot and he said, hey, we got Andy Enriquez here. Andy Enriquez is the author of Show Up for Your Life, 7 Principles to Living an Extraordinary Life. And we would love for him to share a couple words with us. And this was an audience primarily of real estate investors. And it just so happened that right when I was about to speak, there was somebody who was actually sitting in the audience who made it out to my book launch, which was this past weekend. But they didn't just make it out to the book launch. They actually already read the book. And so he's talking about how he loved the book, and he brought up a particular story in the book. And he was talking about this young man that I talk about in the book. His name is Propel. And I was talking about back when I used to be coaching people and helping them to go ahead and start learning how to invest in real estate. Propel approached me and he came to talk to me, and he wanted to get my real estate coaching program. And at that time, I think that program is very cheap. I think it was only like $500. And I told Propel, listen, man, it's $500. And Propel said, unfortunately, listen, man, I don't have $500 right now. So I said, Propel, here's my telephone number, man. Definitely give me a call periodically. I do a real estate investor meeting. You're more than welcome to come by. And so every week or so, Propel would sort of call in, check in, ask me a couple questions, say, hey, Andy, what do I do? I said, listen, man, you got to get comfortable with the real estate contract. You want to start having some areas of real estate that you can what we call farm, get used to and accustomed to those areas. You want to make sure that every single day that you're going on the computer and that you're actively looking for deals. And then all of a sudden I heard Propel get a little quiet. I said, Propel, you there? He said, yeah. I said, well, what's going on? He said, listen, man, I don't necessarily have a computer right now. I don't have internet access. I said, well, Propel, you're gonna have to figure that out. I said, well, listen, that's okay, because all you gotta do is just go ahead and drive someplace, bring your laptop and so forth that has internet access. And Propel was a little quiet. He said, listen, man, I had a car, but it broke down. And so I don't have a car right now. I said, wait a second, Propel, let me get this right. You don't have a computer, you don't have internet access, and wait a second here, you also are telling me you don't have a car. And so I'm thinking to myself, you know what? This guy is literally insane. And so week after week, Propel is still calling me. So literally it's getting to the point now where I'm trying to figure out who's crazier, Propel, who continues to call me, or me, because I'm picking up Propel's phone calls, knowing that he doesn't have a car, he doesn't have a computer, and not just that, but the man doesn't even have the resources to go ahead and get involved with real estate investing. And so sure enough, week after week, I'm getting a call from Propel. Then it goes a little bit and I don't hear from Propel. And so I'm thinking to myself, you know what? Maybe this guy has finally quit. And so I can't blame this guy if he quits. You know, he doesn't have a car, he doesn't have a computer, he doesn't have internet access. And so finally, out of nowhere, my phone rings. And sure enough, I pick it up and guess who's on the line? It's Propel. And I go, hello? And it's Propel on the other line. He said, hello, Andy? I say, yeah, what's going on, Propel? He says, listen, man, I got a deal. I said, wait a second, Propel. What do you mean you got a deal? He said, listen, man, I've been doing everything you told me to do, man. I started going through the real estate contracts. I've been out there. I put out these bandit signs that you told me to do. I've been farming the areas. I've been looking for deals online. I said, wait a second, well, Propel, how you been doing that? You told me you don't have a car, you don't have internet access. He said, yeah, I don't have a car, sir, but I have a bike. And so I've been riding my bike to the library, sir. And when I get to the library, there's a computer room. And sometimes I have to sit there 20, 30 minutes and wait for the computer to come available. And then when the computer comes available, I look for the deals, sir. And I was printing out the address. I said, well, how are you looking at the homes? He said, then I would go ahead and map quest the home, sir. And I said, well, how are you getting there? He said, sir, I was riding my bike. I said, Propel, you are riding your bike to go look at homes? He said, yeah. I said, well, how long was that taking? He said, sometimes an hour and sometimes even 2 hours. I said, oh my goodness, Propel. And he said, I was even putting out signs and everything, sir. And somebody called off of one of my signs and, sir, I've got a deal. I said, Propel, man, you really have a deal. He said, sir, I've got a deal. I said, man, if you've got a deal, man, I'm going to honor my word, man. I'm going to see what I could do to help you out. And so sure enough, I got on the phone with Propel And so we followed through with the deal. And Propel was able to tie the property under contract and then go ahead and flip the contract to another investor. And it was like his first wholesale deal, and Propel made $8,000. And let me just tell you something about Propel. You see, he wasn't afraid of doing hard. You see, the average person who's going after their goals and their dreams, they would have stopped at not having a computer. They would have stopped at not having internet access. They would have stopped at not having a vehicle. But you see, Propel didn't care about that. You see, he was willing to do what was hard. And let me tell you, it's hard to swallow your pride and get on your bicycle every single day and go sit at the library and wait for a computer to come available. It's hard to get on your bike and ride your bike an hour, 2 hours to go look at properties, just to go look at them in the hot heat in South Florida. It's hard to keep going after your goals and your dreams from a bicycle, knowing that you don't have the resources and so forth. But Propel was willing to do hard. He was willing to be unstoppable. And so here's what I say to you right now. That right now, maybe perhaps you got a goal, you got a dream, there's something that you're working on. Maybe you're looking to start the business or take your business to the next level. Maybe you've been making a career change or a shift. Maybe you're in a marriage right now and things are a little difficult. They're not quite going the way that you wanted them to. Maybe right now you're thinking about going after your goals and your dreams and you're afraid and you're realizing that it's hard. What I want to tell you is this: yes, it is hard. Don't let anyone fool you. Don't let them trick you. Don't let them think you that it's going to actually be easy. Many people fall by the wayside. Many people give up on their goals and their dreams. Why? Because of the fact that they've bought into the fact that it's going to be easy. It is not going to be easy. No, it's going to be hard. But although it's going to be hard, it's absolutely worth it. And you have been created to be able to make this thing happen. Let me tell you this. Anything that has your name on it is for you. And so if you know that book has your name on it, if you know the business has your name on it, if you know that this new career path has your name on it, understand this, that what is yours is yours. No one can take that away from you. But understand this, that you can't just relax and sit back on your back. You're going to have to put in some work. You're going to have to go through some difficult moments. You're going to have to keep pushing in. When I left corporate America and I lost that significant investment, that was hard. It was hard for me to continue to believe in myself after I made that poor investment and I lost my money. It was hard to have faith and keep pushing forward when I no longer had a check coming in and hit my bank account every 2 weeks. That was hard. But let me tell you right now that the reason why you're hearing from me right now, the reason why I've had the privilege to be able to work with CEOs and go into major corporations, the reason why I get the opportunity to share messages, the reason why I can say that I've just recently published this book is because I was willing to do hard. And there's no difference between me or anybody else that you see out there that's making some things happen. They were just willing to make a conscious decision to do what's hard. And so I'm going to challenge you right now that for you to go ahead and be seriously serious about going after your goals and your dreams. I want you to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. I want you to commit to doing what's hard. And so what I tell you right now is this, that even though it's going to be hard, it's going to be absolutely worth it. And even though it's going to be hard, you can, in fact, make this thing happen. And so here's what I'm hoping and wishing. I'm hoping I'm going to eventually get a message from you, an email or something. You go reach out and say, Andy, listen, man, I heard your message. And you know what? I was in the middle of a process. Things was a little difficult. But after hearing your message, I made the decision to do hard. And as a result of making a decision to do hard, just like you say, everything that I was going through at that moment, it didn't come to stay, but it came to pass. And because I was willing to go through it, I found myself growing through it. And I came out the other side a different person. And now today, I'm a published author. And now today, I'm the business owner. And today, I'm making an impact. And today, I'm making things happen. Why, Andy? Because I was willing to do what's hard. And so I'm going to challenge you right now. Stop taking the easy way out. Stop convincing yourself that you're doing something wrong because things are getting difficult, and understand that it's part of the process. If you follow and listen to most successful people, don't just look at their highlight reel. Find out the true story. And when you hear the true story, you'll find out that it is just laced and covered with hard moments and hard activities that the person had to overcome. And those are the same things that you could do. So I'm looking forward to listening to what your success story is. So I'm going to challenge you to do what's hard. I'm going to challenge you to dig deep. I'm going to challenge you to lean in. Raising the bar. I'm talking about increasing your level of expectation. I'm talking about leaving behind mediocrity. I'm talking about wanting more out of your life, requiring more from those who are around you, requiring more from your circumstances, requiring more from your environment, and requiring more from yourself. And so I believe that every single one of us, that regardless of what we've accomplished up until this point, so regardless of what you've done in your personal life, regardless of what you've done with your finances, regardless of what you've done in your career, regardless of what you've done in your business, I believe that at any moment that we have the capacity to do more, that we have the capacity to raise the bar. I just finished leaving a networking event, and I was speaking to my friend, Dr. Jermaine. She happens to be the president of the Urban League of Broward County, and she was talking about, she says, Andy, you know what? I just feel like there are so many people who are living below what is possible for them. There are so many people who are going through life, and all they'll ever do is reach to a level 4 when they have the capacity to get to a level 10. And there are many people right now who maybe perhaps they're working at jobs in which they know that there's something in them that has the capacity to do so much more, that maybe right now in what they've allowed and what they've accepted as far as their income, as far as their health, as far as their relationships, they're just basically have settled. And so I'm talking to that part of you that wants more, the part of you that wants to raise the bar, the part of you that has greater expectations. You know, as a matter of fact, I was just watching one of the individuals I love to tune in. There's a gentleman by the name of Evan Carmichael. He is on YouTube, and he puts out these videos, and he puts out the top 10 tips of very famous, highly influential individuals. So there's like the top 10 tips from Mark Zuckerberg, the founder and CEO of Facebook, the top 10 things from Warren Buffett, from Tyler Perry, from Oprah Winfrey, from Ralph Lauren. I mean, from every successful person that you can actually think of. And I was actually watching one of the top 10 actual success tips from a billionaire that he's an Indian descent billionaire. As a matter of fact, he got his starts really starting and launching a particular company, but he has made the Forbes list. And it's so funny. He was addressing a group of Stanford students. And while he was talking to them, of course, I guess you're a billionaire, you get to really say what you want, especially when the school brings you in. And so he was being very honest with them and candid with them. And he looked at the audience and he said this. He said that 90% of you are right now, you're majoring and you're pursuing something that is expected of you rather than you doing the thing that you want to do. And I'm going to repeat that. He said 90% of you have just simply created an expectation or are going after a particular goal or a dream or majoring in something, 90% of you based off of somebody else's expectations. And many of you, only 10% of you will ever decide to raise the bar in your life and decide to actually pursue that thing that you have the desire to pursue yourselves. And so I'm sick and tired of so many of us who are simply just going through the process, going through life, that are just engaged in low life living, that are engaged in just have accepted the status quo and has subscribed to a life of mediocrity. And so what I'm challenging you to do right now is to get a little uncomfortable and begin to raise the bar. Coincidentally, I told you I just left a networking event, but this networking event was actually being held at a very unique location. And so this networking event was being held where else? Nothing else than a Tesla showroom. And so for those of you, unless you've been hiding under a rock, maybe perhaps you haven't heard of Tesla, but Tesla is a revolutionary, groundbreaking automotive company that has literally turned our concept of the modern day vehicle completely upside down by creating a fully electric motor vehicle. And so the other day, it was just last week, I literally kept my wife up because they were doing the grand unveiling of a new vehicle that was being released by Tesla Motor Company, and the unveiling was of a new vehicle, their Model 3, which everybody has been anticipating this vehicle because they have been releasing some phenomenal vehicles, but for a lot of people it's been outside of their price range. And so they're releasing this Model 3, which is one of their fully electronic cars with the starting price of $35,000, which is significantly less than their Model S, which is a starting price of about $70,000. And so I was listening to Elon Musk, who happens to be a billionaire, who is also the founder and CEO of Tesla. And I was listening to him sort of map out how he raised the bar and how the company raised the bar on the automotive industry. And so the very first thing that they released was the Tesla Roadster. And he said that we had to bring to the automotive market, he said we wanted to bring forth a vehicle that got people to, number one, to believe that an electronic vehicle was possible. You see, a lot of people thought it was a cool little thing in science projects and competitions, but many people didn't think it was possible, really practical, to be able to drive a fully electronic vehicle, to get from point A to point B, to drive it every single day. People didn't think it was possible. And so that was the first thing we did, was launch the Tesla Roadster. And he says, but of course, we're testing the market. And so the Tesla Roadster was, for most people, outside their price range, because to buy a Tesla Roadster, you had to pay over $100,000 to get the vehicle. And then he said, once we were able to get people to fully respect that, you know what, that a fully electric vehicle can actually work, he said, then we wanted to bring to the market the next vehicle. And so they introduced the Model S. The Model S is probably what most of you have seen. Very sleek, very sexy, attractive looking, 4-door coupe vehicle, fully electric, absolutely amazing vehicle. Most people don't even fully understand it. I've had the opportunity to spend a couple of days with the Model S, and let me just tell you, it is an absolutely phenomenal vehicle. For those of you who've never been in a Tesla, the amazing thing about the car, you walk up to the car, the door handles come out. There's absolutely no sound of an engine, because there is no engine. It's fully battery operated. There is a front trunk and a back trunk because there is no engine. When you get in the vehicle, you don't have to press a button to start it. The vehicle is automatically on. All you have to do is press the brake, put it in gear, and drive off. And I've also had the opportunity to drive the Tesla that goes from 0 to 60 in less than 3.5 seconds in the ludicrous mode. We're talking about insane, but I share that with you to help you to understand this. Elon Musk and the Tesla family, they decided to raise the bar. You know, let me tell you, year after year, we're watching automotive industry. We're watching all these different dealerships and all these different car makes and models. They're bringing out new vehicles. And yes, they're putting out cool little new features. And, you know, I remember the first time, you know, GPS came out, and the first time a backup camera came out, the first time you had side view mirrors that flapped in and so forth. And so it's easy to look on at the automotive industry and say to yourself, well, what else could somebody come up with? Because everything's been out there. But what I admire about Elon Musk and Tesla is that they looked at an industry that most people would say that there's nothing else that you can bring to the industry, and they decided to raise the bar. And because they raised the bar, because of the fact that they have now, and they're about to bring to full market production, the Model 3, which now the everyday individual is going to be able to afford a fully electric vehicle. Now, what do you think has happened? Now you have other car dealerships, other companies that are scrambling, and now they're trying to figure out what are we going to do to get into this fully electric market? What are we going to do? Because they're realizing that that's the turn of the industry. And so what I'm saying to you is this, that at any moment we can make a decision that outside of what you're currently seeing, outside of what you're seeing in your career, outside of what you're seeing in your business industry, outside of what you're seeing in your business right now, outside of what you're seeing in your marriage, outside of what you're seeing when it comes to your bank account, any moment you can make a decision that you are going to break the mold, that you are going to raise the bar, that you're going to do something that other people are going to think is absolutely insane, that you're going to do something that others have not done. You're going to do something not because you're trying to worry about the competition, but because you believe that it's possible and because you are raising the bar on yourself. And so what I'm commissioning you to do right now is, if you're looking at your life right now, and it's very easy for us to potentially get comfortable. I was talking to somebody who could potentially become one of my new clients, and we may possibly be doing a VIP day. And he was talking about, he said, Andy, man, I've got business coming in and things are going well. And he said, man, in many ways, almost to my detriment, because I've gotten comfortable. And because I've gotten comfortable, I'm not doing the things that I know that I need to do to grow and scale my business. And I was telling him, I said, listen, man, you're not the only one guilty of us. Many of us get to that point where we get very comfortable. And because of the fact we get comfortable, we have the bar set at a certain level where it's just where we want it to be, where we can live where we want to be, where we can buy the things that we want to have. We can take the little trips here and there. We can do the things that we want to do, and we're living pretty comfortably. And so listen, comfort is one of the biggest things that keep you engaged and keep you fully enrolled in a life of mediocrity. And so what we have to do is be willing to step outside of our comfort zone and get uncomfortable and literally raise the bar on ourselves. And so I want you to think about your life right now. I want you to think about any area in your life, whether it has to do with your finances, whether it has to do with your personal relationship, whether it has to do with your health, whether it has to do with your career. I want you to look at and examine the different areas in your life. And I want you to think about, what are the areas in your life in which you want more? What are the areas in your life in which you know that you have the capacity to achieve more? The areas in your life in which you know that you can make more impact, that you can possibly make more income, that you can actually be a game changer, that you can transform lives, not just your life selfishly, but I'm talking about transforming the lives of others. And I want to challenge you to not just have a great lofty conversation about it, but I want to challenge you to raise the bar, to require more of yourself, to bring things to the next level. You know, I'll never forget this. It was one of the NBA players that was talking about something that I believe he said his mother, his grandmother taught him. And he said it was a little saying, and he says he always replays it. And he said that his grandma or his mother used to always say, good, better, best. Never let it rest until your good becomes better and your better becomes your best. I'm going to say that one more time. He said, she would tell me all the time, good, better, best. Never let it rest until your good becomes better and your better becomes your best. And all it is a very cool, fancy way to keep saying that you got to continue to raise the bar, that you got to continue to try to push yourself, because regardless of what you're able to do today, tomorrow you have the capacity to do so much more. And so what I realize is this, is that if you don't be very careful about who you surround yourself with and who it is that you're having conversation with and what it is that you allow yourself to get comfortable doing, you will very slowly, surely be able to slip into something that makes you very comfortable. And that's why it's very important for those of you that have dreams and goals and aspirations to get around people who are achieving and are performing at higher levels than you, people who are operating, so that when you're feeling yourself and you're feeling good and you think you're doing something, you get around some other people and realize, wait a second, I thought I was doing a little something, but you know what? I could be doing so much more. It's important that regardless of where you are right now, and I'm not talking about from a materialistic standpoint, but if you have a goal, you have a dream, you have a desire, it's important that you get out sometimes and maybe get into those beautiful multi-million-dollar neighborhoods, if that's not where you're at right now, and look at the beautiful homes, if that's what you desire in your life, and be able to just look at it so that you don't get comfortable with where you are right now. If maybe you have the desire to travel and make some things happen, it's important that periodically that you go ahead and you look up some great trips, and trips to Europe, and trips to Prague, and over to Paris, or wherever it is, Dubai, or wherever it is that you want to travel, so that you can keep your mind mentally engaged, and so that you can continue to raise the bar in your life, and so that you're not willing to just simply make a trade-off and just simply settle for average and settle for mediocrity. And so I want you right now to take a cold, honest look at your life right now. And I want you to be honest, and I want you to answer the question, whatever you've accomplished up until this point, in your finances, in your relationships, or with your health, or whatever it is that you've accomplished up until this point, do you have the capacity to raise the bar? Or maybe perhaps you've been blessed and fortunate enough where maybe something has been passed on to you. Are you comfortable with just maintaining, or are you willing to raise it to the next level? I was just on the phone today with another friend of mine. I was very, very, very good friends with his father. His father, unfortunately, passed away within the past 2 years. His father passed away. His father was an extraordinary man, an extraordinary businessman. And his father not only was an extraordinary businessman and a real estate investor, but he decided to create a real estate investor club that was able to share real estate strategies and really help a lot of people to get their start in real estate and to elevate their game. And so once the father passed away, I was curious to figure out, well, what's going to happen to this meeting? What's going to happen with the things that the father has created? And I was very pleased today when I was speaking to the son
And he said, Andy, listen, I know you've been busy, man. I know you just recently wrote the book. I know you got your book launch that's coming up this Saturday. I know you people have been pre-ordering, getting your books, and I saw you were also featured in Black Enterprise, and all that stuff's awesome, man. He said, man, we got to get you to come back by the meetings. I said, man, well, first of all, I'm happy to know the meetings are going well. He said, listen, man, they're doing more than going well, man. He says the meetings are packed. He said, not only that, but we decided to incorporate some technology. He said, now, not only do we have a packed room for the meetings, but we periscoped the actual meeting. And he said that we had over 100 people that were tuning in from all across the world who are watching our meeting via Periscope. He said that you remember when my dad had the meeting, it was just in one county. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to spread our wings. We're going to have another meeting going on in 2 other counties. And he said that once we prove the concept, we're going to go ahead and make it a franchise and allow other people to begin their own real estate clubs in their own various cities. And I was just sitting there thinking to myself, his father would be looking on right now and would be so proud. And the reason why is because his son didn't just take what he had and tried to maintain it. His son didn't just take what he passed on to him and lose it. But no, rather what he's doing is he's raising the bar. He's taking it to the next level. And so what I'm asking you right now is what's in your hand right now? What has been given to you? What are your gifts? What are your skills? What are your talents? What is it that you bring to the table? And what is it that you can do right now with your hand to raise the bar? How can you take your current amount of resources that you have right now and raise the bar, make more impact, and contribute and make different things happen in not just your life, but in other people's lives? How can you raise the bar in your job, in your profession? What can you do so that you can actually operate and perform at a higher level and so that you can have more impact on the people who are around you? How can you raise the bar in your marriage? How can you raise the bar as a father, as a mother? How can you raise the bar? And really, that's the question. And I'm telling you right now, this is one of those things that I wouldn't in 100 years I ever tell you that it's something that's easy, but it's something that has to be self-imposed. It's one of those things that you really got to dig deep. You've got to find that willpower, that thing within, and you've got to draw from that place, and you've got to come to that place and having the expectation where you say to yourself, well, you know what? I have the capacity to do so much more than what I've done so far. And even though I've accomplished some great things, even though some great things have happened for me, I know that I can do more. And if you're a person who's an achiever, you should have the desire so that those around you will continue to raise the bar. Why? Because when one of us raises the bars, all of us benefit. Because it causes all of us to dig deep. It causes all of us to see that other things are possible. You see, Tesla raised the bar. And so now that there are a lot of other car companies who were just dibbling and dabbling with the fully electric vehicle, but now that they're actually seriously considering it, now they're looking into the innovation, now that they're changing their game plan. You know, when any one of my speaker friends make some great things happen, when they raise the bar, when they create an opportunity, when they get featured in a publication, when they land a new client, when they begin a new program, when they begin anything, what it is it benefits all of us because it forces all of us to begin to raise the bar. I tell you, one of the things that I was pretty proud of and happy about was when I graduated high school, in the county that I graduated in, which is Broward County, I received an award my senior year of high school. And I received the award and I was being honored by Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. They actually decided to go ahead and issue out 2 rewards, and they named it the Minerva Award. And they decided to give the reward out to the African-American male with the highest GPA in the county of Broward County. And they chose me based off of my GPA. I graduated high school, I think, with like a 4.4 GPA. And at that particular time, 96 in Broward County, off of them doing a search between the different high schools and so forth, they said that I had the highest GPA out of all the African-American males in the Broward County area. And so I was very humbled and honored. And so I want you to realize this, listen to this. Fast forward about 14 years later, or maybe even, matter of fact, it was actually more than 14 years later. We're talking about maybe about 18 years later, I receive a phone call. And so I received a phone call and they say, hey, Andy, listen, we are looking for a keynote speaker And not only are we looking for a keynote speaker, but this is for a specific event. And believe it or not, you were an honoree for this event back in 1996. And we would like for you to be the keynote speaker, and we would like for you to go ahead and help us to distribute the award. It is called the Minerva Award. Do you remember that? So, oh my goodness, yes, I do remember that award. I got it, and I still believe someplace in one of my boxes, I still have that award someplace. As a matter of fact, I told him if I could dig it up, and I was able to dig it up, I said, I'm gonna bring it with me so I could show you. And so here's what the amazing thing is. This is what the cool thing is. So we're sitting through and they're giving me the list of the individuals that are going to receive scholarships and the awards. And then everyone's waiting for the entire day. They're waiting for these two awards, right? Which is the highest GPA. And so, I'm excited and so forth because I'm thinking, I had a 4.4 GPA. I'm feeling real cool and so forth. And so I said, well, I wonder if whoever got the award this year, if they if they had at least a 4.4 GPA. I was like, I wonder if my GPA is still the highest, for all time. So sure enough, they go on and they're going to announce, whoever that award goes to. And they said, this is the person that got the GPA. And so I announced the person, I handed them an award, and I just asked the young man, I said, well, what's your GPA? It was the craziest thing. And this young man told me something like, I didn't even think was humanly possible. But he said something like he had something like a 5.2 GPA. First of all, I didn't even know it was possible to get a 5.2 GPA. I mean, to get straight A's, first of all, you got a 4.0 GPA. The only way I was able to get over a 4.0 is I had, advanced classes where I got extra credit. And I don't know what kind of classes this young man had to be over a 5.0. I didn't even think it was possible, like mathematically possible to get over a 5.0. And I was thinking to myself, wow. You want to talk about raising the bar. I mean, now they probably look on at the GPA I had at the time, excuse me, and they probably are like, man, that's an absolute joke. I mean, they blew that GPA out of the water. And let me just tell you, I was sitting there and I was so proud. I was so proud of this young man for raising the bar, because what I realized is now he created a new standard. And now what it means is that the next person to win that award can now look on and say, wow, you know what? Someone had a 5.2 GPA, but now, you know what? I'm going to shoot to go even higher than a 5.2 GPA. I'm going to shoot to take things like out of the atmosphere like this young man did. And so what I'm saying to you is realize this, that when we raise the bar, we give others permission to do the same. As a matter of fact, we empower others to take things to the next level. As many of you remember, you'll remember the story, at one point they said it wasn't possible to run the mile within a certain amount of minutes. And everybody thought it was absolutely impossible. And then sure enough, what happened? A gentleman came in and broke the record. And guess what? Right after he broke the record, when everybody said it wasn't possible, shortly thereafter, quite a few other people broke the record as well. Why did that happen? Well, the reason why is because Roger Bannister, he actually raised the bar, and he raised people's belief system that because he raised the bar, that now other people realized that it was possible for them. And so here's the only thing that I'm saying to you right now, and here's what I want you to think about for a moment. I just want you to look at your life, and I want you to examine the different areas in your life. I want you to examine your finances. I want you to examine your health. I want you to examine your relationships. I want you to examine your spirituality. And I want you to think about all these different areas in your life. Do you truly believe that you are operating at the absolute highest level possible? Do you believe that you're operating at the highest level possible? In other words, in your career, you could do no better. In your business, you could do no better. In your relationship, you could do no better. In your marriage, you could do no better. When it comes to your faith and your spirituality, you could do no better. I want you to examine those different areas in your life. And if you know that you know that you know that you know that you have the capacity to do more, that there's something in you that has the desire to do more, I want to challenge you to raise the bar. I want to challenge you to raise the bar, not because somebody else told you to raise the bar, but I want you to raise the bar on yourself. And so it brings me back. When we were kids, I remember I lived in area of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. My cousins, they live about 45 minutes away. And I remember sometimes my mom didn't want to drive me up there, so I would take this little public train down here, and I'd drive up, take the train up there. My aunt would come pick me up. And me and my cousins, we get in the backyard and we play all kind of games. We play football. We go ahead and play tag. We play tug of war. We anything we could think of. And one of the times we would play this game, and what we'll do is we'd go in the kitchen, go get my aunt's broomstick, and we'll take the end of the broomstick where the bristles are, and we turn the bristles right off, and we would just take off the end. And so now all we have was a stick. And then what we have two people line up on one side of the yard, and the two people would hold the stick, and they would hold the stick close to the ground, and the rest of us would get in a single file line. And so the object of the game is we would go ahead and we would approach the stick, and we would either step over the stick or jump over the stick, depending on how high it is, get back in the line, and every single time we would continue to raise the bar. And so the amazing thing is when we played this game, is that you would start off and it would be so simple because the bar was so low. So all you had to do was walk up and literally just step over. But something would happen that every single time you got back in line, that you yourself would tell the two people that were holding the bar to bring it up a little more. And so you were yourself telling them to go ahead and raise the bar. And every single time they raised the bar, something happened. You had to dig in a little deeper. You had to focus a little more. Sometimes you had to back up and take a couple extra steps. And sometimes you would run up to it and then you'd feel as if, wait a second, I don't think I'm ready. And then you get back in line and you try to mentally prepare yourself to get to the next level. But something happened when you jumped over and you made it and you raised the bar. What happened is you raised your belief system. You found out that you're able to do so much more than you have the capacity to do. Your confidence went up and you left there realizing that, wait a second, I didn't think I could clear the bar at that level, and I did. And so it makes you realize that you can do so much more. And so I'm challenging you right now that regardless of what you've accomplished in your life up until this point, I want to challenge you to raise the bar. I want to challenge you to break away from mediocrity. I want to challenge you to break away from the status quo. I want to challenge you to do more, to become more, to aspire for more, to achieve for more. Because why? Because I know it's absolutely possible for you. And so what I'm asking you to do is for you to raise the bar on yourself, not because somebody's getting on top of you, not because they're forcing you to do it, but because it's possible and because you have the capacity and the ability to do it. And so I want you right now to raise the bar in your life, raise the bar in your finances, raise the bar in your relationship, raise the bar in your health, and raise the bar for your goals and your dreams. And you know this wouldn't be Andy Enriquez if I didn't end by telling you this. Show up for your lives, ladies and gentlemen, because if you don't, nobody else will.